Hmm?
Where do you find the most benefit
What do you mean?
from like doing the sessions, like headaches aside? Where do you find them in your life where they have the
General,
biggest payoff?
right. Headaches aside, generally your sessions work. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. No, I'd say 90% of the time I come away feeling, if not got if even if I've got a headache, I will still feel calmer unless I'm having a really bad day. But generally, no, calmer. 90% of the time I do feel calmer regardless of what's happening with headaches or not headaches. Does that answer your
Mm-hmm.
question?
Yeah,
Yeah.
go into a bit deeper.
I think it depends if I can switch off my what's going through my head when I switch you on, then it
Mm-hmm.
works. So
Mm-hmm.
it's not just about you, is it? It's actually about the person that you're speaking to, and it depends if that person how much noise is in their head, whether they could. It's like you say, meditation is hard for most people. Quite often, it's quite hard, isn't
Mm-hmm.
it, to switch off and get yourself in that zone. So I'd say that's pretty
Mm-hmm.
normal, pretty human. Yeah, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Cool. Nice. And where do
Does
you
that help?
see the biggest? Yeah. Sorry about that noise. Can you hear that
It's a drill. Was it a
or
drill?
not? Can you hear
Yeah,
it, or
was it
is
a
it? Do you
drill?
not? Is it? I
No,
don't
it's
know.
fine.
Is it loud
It's
or?
fine. No, no.
Okay, cool. So where, if you were to say in your day-to-day life, where after, because obviously in the minute you're just doing the meditations, where do you
Yeah.
find them helping in your everyday life? So obviously you do a session, it helps, but then how does it carry over to your daily life? Do you feel like certain instances? Do you feel like a certain example that you can give people listening?
Yeah. I mean, okay. Some days, right. Some days I find it quite hard to get into my work. Okay. As a general
Mm-hmm.
comment, I'm an artist, but you could say work. It's the same thing. And so when
Mm-hmm.
I do quite often when I do your headspace stuff, it helps me to be a bit calmer. And
Sorry, it's my low battery.
so it just gets me into a calmer headspace. Okay. So I can
Mm-hmm.
concentrate more on what it is I'm doing.
Mm-hmm. Nice. So it helps with your work, right?
Yes. Or at the very least, it helps because it's quite hard what I do. You've got to be self and all the rest of it. But and it's quite hard to kind of concentrate and focus sometimes if there's a lot of noise and shits in your head. So quite often with your sessions, that does help to calm down the noise and just generally calm things down so that I can, like I said to you recently, this week, everything gets calmed down on a level where I can
Mm-hmm.
operate. Okay.
Awesome. That's
Yeah, it
great.
is
That's
awesome.
good to
Thank
hear.
you. Yeah. Yeah.
No worries at all.
Not every
Kim,
single
if
time, but I
you,
would say like 90% of the time. Okay, 80 to 90% of the time.
and yeah, great. Like,
Okay,
cool.
all
Things,
right.
yeah, things don't work 100% of the time, right? You go to the
No,
gym, you might not have 100% session. So that's real talk, and that's cool. That's important to know, right? Because
and sitting
if
up.
you're saying something will work 100% of the time, then it's a false fallacy.
Oh,
So
bullshit.
you
No,
saying
bullshit.
that 90% is genuine, and I like that.
Good. I'm a genuine person. You'll get the truth from me, Josh.
Good. All right, here's the truth talk. If someone was listening to this, watching, and they
Mm,
were, now I'm speaking in the context of what you do, which is your meditations and the mindfulness side of things, the breathing. If someone was
mm,
in, let's say, Kim's position, maybe mini Kim, or someone 10 years younger or whatever, and they're struggling in their mind at the minute, they're going through some hard times, they're maybe getting headaches, they're struggling to get motivated with their work, all of the similar circumstances like you, what would be
mm.
Kim's advice to those people right now? And you can take 10 seconds, 20 seconds to think if you
No,
wish.
I can tell that straight away. It will pass.
Mm,
It will pass. Whatever you're going through, whether it's a bad mood, headache, sick, whatever, self-doubt, a million things. It's like you said, it will pass. It will pass. And even if you wake up in a really freaking bad mood, and that bad mood lasts all bloody day, and especially if you're tired, if you've got, I suffer with insomnia from time to time. If and that's, I mean, I'm sure you've had that as well from what you said in the past, and that can get things really dark if you've got insomnia. Even that, as long as you don't hang on to everything. And that's really hard to say, especially when you're tired. But just generally speaking, things will pass. It will pass. What goes down goes up. What comes up goes down. That's life. That's the way it works. Always. Without, I mean, I'm older now, and I can say that without a shadow of a doubt. Downs and ups, every step of the way, and it will never change. It will always be like that. And as long as you can accept that, and you can accept the downs and the ups, then you'll be doing all right. I think. That any help?
Very good. Yeah. And what would you say to those same people to say, or not persuade is the wrong word, to advise them on how the sessions would help them in those certain situations?
Right. Here's the thing. When For myself, when I'm in a really bad mood or I'm tired or I'm down, sometimes the last thing I want to do is listen to your session. Okay? Seriously. But that is the very time when you should very well listen to that session, because even if you think it's not going to help, you'd be surprised what can happen. Okay? So don't assume that the session with you is not going to help. I'm in a really bad mood. It's just not going to help. Just do it. That's the hardest thing, actually, when you're really not in a mood. It's like exercising, isn't it? You really don't want to go to that gym. And actually, sometimes don't go to the gym. It's fine. It's not the end of the world. But generally speaking, do it. Because that's my biggest problem, actually, is not being in a bloody mood to listen to anybody or anything. But that's when you need to listen.
That's great. That's awesome advice, and that sums
Yeah.
it up really in terms of when
Yeah.
people, myself included, when we don't want to
Mm.
do something, they're the
Yeah.
times that we need to do the practices to get us out of that, to get us out of
Oh,
our
yeah.
own way. So that was tip top advice. Younger
And
Kim
Josh,
will love you for that.
Josh, listen. And sometimes, even if you're not in the mood to do your sessions and you've done a session, you might still feel shit afterwards. You might actually. It doesn't matter, because it could be the next day or it could be the following week. It doesn't matter, because it's accumulative. All these things that we're doing with you, for example, it doesn't have to be an immediate result. The point is, if you've done it, then you've done it, and it's one, you know that you've done it, and that's going to make you feel a little bit better anyway, even if you're in a really bad mood. Okay. But it could be the next day, it could be the day after. It will help you to feel better. Do you see?
Yeah, 100%. It's like putting money into your bank account. Sometimes the interest won't pay off for a month, and
Yeah,
you gotta believe that what the reps that you're putting in, whether it's movement,
yeah,
nutrition,
yeah,
mindset,
yeah,
whatever, has a
yeah,
payoff, because
yeah.
it's going something's going to happen, right? You choose to do nothing,
Right.
something's going to happen. You choose to do a session, something's going to
Mhm.
happen. As
Yeah.
a closing question, Kim,
Mm.
how much would you? How much would you? No, what's the question? How not how much? Let's say I don't want to just put a closed question to finish. Like, do you recommend Purvida? I want it to be more of an open response from you. What would you Let's do that. What would you say to people who are thinking about joining Purvida and they haven't quite yet, and they're waiting for Kim's advice to give them the nudge to join Purvida? What would you say?
I think I like all your different approaches to meditation. Okay. Whether it's your storytelling, whether it's breathing, there's a lot of different, and I can see that you research a lot into what you are doing. And I think that's really
Mm,
encouraging. And I can also tell that you read about things as well, which is also a very good thing. So what I'm saying
mm,
with you is that you never stagnate. Okay,
mm,
so I like the feeling that's with your Purvida. There's always this feeling of, oh, what's just going to come up with next? What's
mm,
he what do you see that you're not, people rely on kind of like the knowledge you already have, whereas I think with you, you're always kind of, I get the feel. No, I'm pretty sure you do. You're always researching and you're looking for ways to try and get across to people. Really, maybe
mm.
uh, the same theme or the same idea, but there are so many different ways and approaches, and some things will suit different people, and other things will suit different people. And I think I just kind of think maybe with what you do, then I just think that there's something there for everybody.
Mm. That's cool. Variety, right?
You right? Yeah, yeah.
So you'd
It's good.
say you'd say you'd recommend it to them, yeah? Recommend
Yeah,
Purvida to them.
and here. And Josh, here's the thing, right? In a gym, you repeat the same exercise over and over. It's no good, is it? It just doesn't do anything in the end. Yeah, it's the same thing.
Yeah.
So with what you're Purvida, it's the same thing. You change it up, you change it up, and that's what keeps it interesting. Otherwise, it just if you keep doing the same thing, it's going to be boring. So I would say, yeah, I like. Here's the thing: you change things up with Purvida, and that's what makes it interesting.
Powerful. That's really
Okay,
cool. Love that, Kim.
you pop the check in the post.
Thanks for your time. I'll pay, that's
You're welcome.
99p. Thanks a lot.